Welcome to today's Garage Devotional. I'm Pastor Ted from Connect Church. It's good to be with you today. I skipped yesterday as Veterans Day, a holiday to honor those who've served, and so I just took the day off. But I'm back today for this week's Garage Devotional. We're going to be looking at Proverbs 3, verses 1 through 12. And as we start this is so obvious, I'm going to read a few verses, is that we need to apply the words of Jesus. We just can't hear them. We just can't read them and go our way, but we need to apply the words of Jesus. Let me read a few verses. I'm not going to read all of them, but just a few. It says here, "My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. And for the length of days and your years of life and peace that you'll add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your hearts, so you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man." So even at the very beginning of this, we're going to look at some of the benefits, but it's if we don't apply the Word of God, we won't see these benefits. That the Word of God is not a dead book, it is a living book, and the words of Jesus need to be applied in our lives. So first, as we're looking at it, we need to apply the words of Jesus. The Bible's not just an ancient book or a dead book. Like I said, it's a living book. Solomon is showing us that the words of the Bible are food for our lives and words that are alive today for us. If we learn and apply them, they will produce good in our lives and bring peace and blessing in every area of our lives. Solomon here is portraying the words from Jesus as a beautiful scarf wrapped around our necks to keep that idea of keeping the words of Jesus close to us so that we will not forget them or we will not forsake them. Or he puts here, forsake love or faithfulness, that it'll keep us from forsaking the love of Jesus and the faithfulness. We need to be faithful as well. What struck me first was we would have to have known the words of Jesus to apply them, to live them out. We needed to know the words of Jesus and not have just looked at it, like I said at the beginning, and forgot about them. That the steadfast love and faithfulness of Jesus will never forsake us if we apply the words and live out the words of Jesus. Shows us how important it is of knowing the words of the scriptures and knowing the words of Jesus. The result of having these in our life is this: unshakable love and steadfast. When we keep the words of Jesus in the scriptures, we will have what? Unshakable love and steadfastness. When we have these, we'll experience the favor of Jesus and his goodness in our life. In addition, we're given the image that we're to plant the words of Jesus in our soul. So he's using a couple other imagery. We're to plant the words of Jesus in the soil of our lives or into our very souls. This is the only way to have fruitful lives, and Solomon is directing us to this. He shows us that we are to trust Jesus. The trust he shows that we are to show to Jesus is this wholehearted trust. It involves my whole body, my whole being, trusting Jesus. We are to trust him first and foremost every time. Trust in Jesus before our abilities, trust in Jesus before others, and after Jesus, then go after Jesus and put our trust in him. And when we do that, we'll find that there's an integrity into our lives, and we'll see the integrity in the Word of God. We are not to put our trust in those who lack integrity, but we're to put our trust in the words of Jesus that has complete integrity. Solomon shows us that if we do this, our road of life will be a level road, that resulting in keeping us from stumbling and falling and being hurt because of misplaced trust in others. If we allow ourselves to be puffed up or inflated, the inflated view of ourselves, then there's no room for the refreshing, healing words of Jesus in our life. In other words, don't get inflated. Don't get puffed up about how great you are, how much you think you know, but think of ourselves the way Jesus looks at us, of his servants, his children that he loves. The word picture here shows us if we live our lives like this, will experience continual and renewing wholeness in our lives. Last thing we're going to talk about briefly is when he brings in this last part of this part that we're looking at. He brings in honor with how we use our money. We're being honorable in how we use our money. Does money rule us, or do we rule our money? That's a great question. Solomon reminds us to be masters of our money. This involves good stewardship of all the income streams that come into our lives. If we are foolish with our money, we will be foolish with other things in our life. This requires budgeting our money to last over our lifetime, including blessing others, and then that we bless out as well, honoring Jesus, also with the first fruits that he brings into our lives. How we handle our money will paint a good picture of how we handle our lives. Solomon tells us to be wise and not a fool. That's a good thing to just leave on. He wants us to be wise, not a fool, and he gives us everything we need. Blessings. We'll see you next week.